BigPatriotRadio.com. All licenses for music and content have been purchased by and are for the express use of Big Patriot Radio Networks. All information, opinions, and topics are for entertainment purposes only and do not expressly represent the opinions of the show's host and or producer. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Introducing to you.
You're on House of Cards. Live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
Hey, good evening. Excuse me. Good evening and Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year from us here at Big Patriot Radio and Beaufort County's House of Cards. It's January 2nd, 2025. And welcome back to another year of Beaufort County's House of Cards. I'm Mike Covert, your host for tonight, and we're coming to you live from the Big Patriot Studios in the great state of South Carolina. We want to welcome everyone, a big warm welcome to everyone watching on Facebook and YouTube and those around the world. Last week we had somebody, actually we had two, but we got to talk to, at least via text or the chat thing. Virgil, I believe his name was, in London. How about that? So everyone around the world listening in on BigPatriotRadio.com. We are simulcasting live right now on that network. Thank you so much for those of you who have been with us not only since day one, but those who, if you've just joined, if tonight's the first time, a special welcome to you as well. We want to also say thank you and welcome to those folks who are doing a big part, a huge part. Gotta fix a couple microphone things here by donating stars. Yes, that's right. That's a new thing. Donating stars on Facebook to the show. This helps pay the bills and keeps content coming. Unfortunately, this isn't a free gig. It's not a money-making gig, that's for sure, but your stars do help make it all possible. We also want to thank those who make weekly or monthly contributions, $10, $20, $5, whatever, to our Venmo account. You see all of that below right there going along the bottom of the screen. That's how you can help. We're trying to and hoping to hit 700 stars. That's a goal for tonight. 700 stars on Facebook. They're inexpensive, and it's an easy way to contribute. We want to also give a big shout out and thank you. Last week, we had the county auditor, David Cadd, on, but he wasn't on talking about the auditor, so to speak, his office. He was talking about the Cadd family tradition, the infamous Christmas lights display on Ladies Island. So a big thank you to David Cadd and Amanda and family. Speaking of last week, let's see here. Let's get to last week. Numbers out of last week. The number one song was Iron Man from Black Sabbath, and Beaufort, not surprisingly, was the number one listening city with Bluffton, South Carolina, and Ringgold, Georgia. I think that's the first time they've been on the chart, rounding out the top three.
Introducing to you.
You're on House of Cards. Live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
It is the truth. And before we get started, as we came on the air tonight, we've confirmed tonight, this is just breaking, that Interstate I-85 northbound and southbound in Greenville County, South Carolina, has been shut down, I guess now for almost an hour, not quite an hour, I believe, for a suspected bomb threat around exit 44. Earlier, South Carolina Transport Police asked for bomb squad assistance from the state police and Greenville County Sheriff's Department after making a traffic stop on a semi-tractor trailer. This has been confirmed by the governor's office and the Sheriff's Department. If we get more information, we will pass that along to you as we go tonight. Big show tonight. Big show. We're going to jump right into it. Today, Beaufort County Council swore in 3 members who won re-election to county council. That was council member Gerald Dawson out of District 1, Councilman York Glover out of District 3, and Councilman Logan Cunningham out of District 7. Now, as the title of the show tonight was Council Gives Passiment the Boot, and I meant to bring on one of my boots as kind of a prop, but the graphic gave it all, so you got the hint. The biggest news of the day happened this morning. was the vote for chair and vice chair. That happens after all 11 members are sworn in, whomever they are. Last week, I want to remind you, this is important. We were the only news outlet. I've scoured the internet. And if if the internet says it's true, it's got to be true. And if it says it's false, it's probably true, right? Anyway, I scoured the internet. We were the only outlet that made the public aware that Chairman Joe Passiment had 5. He had 5 definite yes votes. I put money on it, so to speak. 5 definite yes votes to return as chair, which meant Larry McKellen would have returned as vice chair. And the 6th and crucial vote was going to be that of Logan Cunningham. Well, our statement proved true. It proved true. We knew that going into this morning's vote, Passiment had, again, Gerald Dawson, had him. He had Mark Lawson, York Glover, obviously himself, and obviously Larry McKellen. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. You have to have a majority, which would be 6. No way on God's green earth was Paula Brown, Tom Reitz, Alice Howard, obviously, Tab Tabernick, obviously, or David Bartholomew going to vote for Passiment. And why is that? Well, because Alice Howard wanted the chair position. That's been plain as day and very well known. And she has wanted Tab Tabernick as her vice chair. Okay. That's 5. That's 5 for him, 5 for her, and 1 standing. Again, we were right. Logan Cunningham. Now, Cunningham, and this is only our assumptions by what we watch and what we see. This didn't come from anyone. This is just what we watch and what we've seen. And since we've played the game, we know how the game works. The question is, was Cunningham indebted at all to Passiment? Why would someone say that? Well, Cunningham, who's a very busy man, I'm not shorting him that, he was very rarely at committee meetings and some council meetings. If you look at in mass, the totality of things, he was very rarely there. Yes, he was on some Zoom calls. That should be done away with, to be blunt about it. That was COVID. That was that era. That needs to be, you need to have your ass at the council chambers. You're getting paid to do this. You need to show up. If you can't, and I'm not talking to him, I'm talking to anybody. If you can't show up, you don't need to be doing it. So anyway, he's rarely at many meetings due to other responsibilities. He was given a committee chairmanship. I think it's public safety or land use or something like that. I don't remember the name of it. He was given that role by Passiment, and I would, if I had to bet, because Passiment's no direct fool, no fool at all. He knew he had 5 votes and he needed 6. He's done this. He understands. And I'm sure as I'm sitting here, he knew that Logan Cunningham was the vote. That was the vote. Was he promised, he being Cunningham, was he promised anything? I have no idea. I have no idea. It's a question everybody wants to ask. I've been asked that today. What was he promised? What was promised by him or whatever? I don't know. That's a question I'd love to ask. Who knows if he was or he wasn't? That would have been by Passiment for the 6th and final vote. Well, that's not fair. That's not legal. Well, that's neither here nor there. That is the game. And if you're in that position, that's how the game is played. Well, Cunningham surprised a lot of people. A lot of people. Actually, he surprised me because he didn't vote for Joe Passiment. He voted for Alice Howard as chair. That was the 6th vote needed, and she is now vice chair of county council. Tab Tabernick of District 6 is now the vice chair of county council because they went by precedents set years ago, even though Larry McKellen it's ironic that this all works out this way. McKellen, who slapped precedents in the face, he slapped precedents in the ass earlier this year and voted for And how did he do that? Well, we went over this story with Tom Reitz and an appointment to a commission that he being McKellen stepped in and overstepped because he wanted someone he was friends with or an acquaintance of or whatever, completely breaking precedents. Remember the whole stare decisis thing? Yeah, Larry McKellen just threw that out the window. Anyway, the folks on county council held precedence by having a north of the Broad and south of the Broad opposites as chair and vice chair. There's nothing written in the rules about that, but it has always been precedence. The chair was elected, that's Alice Howard. She is north of the Broad. By precedent, you would have elected a south of the Broad representative. That narrows it down, and Tab Tabernick pulled the short straw. This should be a huge wake-up call for Joe Passiment and to Larry McKellen for some instances, but mainly Joe Passiment. People inside the county this morning that I talked to before, a couple before, but many after, and those that I talked to afterwards said that Passiment abruptly left the county building immediately after the meeting was gavelled out. Immediately after it was gavelled out, he packed up his toys and went to some other sandbox, assumably back home. Took his toys and ran. Well, does this mean that things are changing here in Beaufort County? With a new chair and vice chair, that's obviously a yes on that topic. But how long will it be before we have another controversy or suggested corruption or misdoings or misfeasance or malfeasance or whatever adjective you want to come up with at the helm of Alice Howard and Tab Tabernick behind the wheel? Now, I'm going to give them both the grace needed. Talked to someone earlier and I said, hey, wait a minute. I'm no fan. One may just be as bad as the other. One may just be as good as the other. I don't, whatever. I will be the bigger person and give them both the grace needed and allow them the time, albeit a short time, to make things right. I will do that. There are several county council people, along with other government officials, watching this right now. I will give Alice Howard and Tab Tabernick the grace needed, meaning the time to make things right. And that should have started this afternoon. Actually, before noon. They were done before the lunchtime hour. So this morning, they should have begun setting the tone as they move forward. I will also call them out when necessary. As I've done with Larry McKellen and Joe Passiment, I'm not showing any favorites. If you do great, I'm going to sing it from the heavens. If you do wrong, we will let the public know. I'm also going to call out something I heard from Tab Tabernick at her acceptance speech of the vice chair. Tabernick said something to the effect directly, such as, we are a cohesive group and we're going to do great things for the county together. I think even the paper quoted that when it came out later on this afternoon. On the surface, someone would read that and go, well, that's nice. That's a good way to put it. I like to unpack things when I hear people be quoted or hear people say, and I heard this. I didn't see it. I heard this from her. For me, that was a very first red flag. Tabernick has said things since she's been in office that I think she probably would want to take back if she could walk them back. The most egregious being the threat of raising your personal property taxes if you don't do what she says. Tabernick she needs to understand this very clearly. Now that you're in leadership position, you need to understand this succinctly, that you do not work for Beaufort County. You work for the people. Most of the time, generally speaking, people that are in a leadership position already, as an elected official, already understand this. Now, there have been from time to time people that in a local level, whether it's a county council, a school board, or a town council, they get elected and immediately they think they have to operate like those on Capitol Hill or 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And au contraire, my friend, you hold an office of the most absolute rubber hitting the road platform. Not the bottom of the pyramid. You're at the top of the pyramid where the people feel it the most. You work for the people. Already it appears she has her conflicts coming out in the open. Remember, as I just said, she is the one who spearheaded the vote yes for the tax or we will raise your property taxes kind of statement. That was her that said that. Mark Lawson jumped in on it as an agreement, as did Logan Cunningham. My question, and I've been asked this several times, and I didn't blow it off, but I kind of put it off to the side to just see things develop, if they developed. So now my question is, what kind of Republican has those values of vote for the tax or I'll raise your personal property taxes? I mean, that's the 1-2, no, no, no. Well, according to our research that we did back 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it is now, Tabernick hasn't been a Republican all that long. No. She didn't vote in the 2016 elections, and prior to that, she voted Democrat. Remember, she's from a state that you have to what's the word? In South Carolina, you don't apply by party. In some states you do. You have to register, rather, not apply, register by party. She comes from a place that you register by party. Every state and the FEC has records of how you vote. Okay? So even though you vote in private, the record is public, as it should be. But she says she's a Republican. Are you a Republican, Tabernick, because that's what it took to get that seat, which is disingenuous? Or are you a Republican because you become reformed? I'd like to know the answer to that. We're going to keep the same pressure for transparency and accountability on Alice Howard and Tab Tabernick that we did on Joe Passiment and Larry McKellen. Matter of fact, it may end up being more because the community, and that's a big, big community here that listens to this show, is expecting that. That is the expectation that we will hold people accountable for their actions when they are in elected office. Well, this channel are quite proud. I mean, we are quite proud, I must say, for the efforts that we have been able to influence in this county. When on county council, I was the one who went public and declared Stu Rodman one of the most horrific chairmen in county history and called for his resignation. You may remember that. It was on Hilton Head Island one night at a county council meeting. As I told him, and I still mean, he's a great man. He's a good guy, but he sucked as a chairman, and I called for his resignation. The pressure we applied, along with that of Brian Flewelling, Rick Caporal, and some others at that time, get this, from Passiment and McKellen, forced him to resign. He was forced to resign. Now, we didn't outvote him. We forced him to resign. Same sort of thing with these latest two. We instituted enough pressure and community opinion to force at least 6 people on council to replace them. Some didn't need forcing. Don't get me wrong. Some had been seeing the big picture. Many saw the forest through the trees. But there were some who had to be forced. And the public knew that. Is it the best move that could have been done? Who knows? I mean, who knows? But at least it's a move. If you're not moving somehow, you're going backwards. If these two, Howard and Tabernick, become horrible leaders, we will call for them to be replaced as well. I mean, again, it's no, it's nothing personal. It just is what it is. Tabernick already knows she's on the hot seat. She knows it. I think she's watching. I can't tell. I see 3, 4, 5. It's actually 6 people. 6, I believe that's 6 on the one channel from Sun City that I can't decipher their address. So she may be watching right now. Anyway, she's already on the hot seat. She knows I've been looking at her seat, and I've had people talking to me about it in 2026. And I've already had financially dedicated, not of my own, but of others, several tens of thousands of dollars for me to campaign to replace her. And it's 2 years away. Well, 1 year now. She knows District 6 is on the hot seat right now. Chairwoman Howard knows District 6 is on the hot seat. Chairwoman Howard is on the hot seat. There are 2 people in that district that I know of in her district that are watching her every single move and may primary her. I reached out to Chairwoman Howard today and I invited her on the show. She actually reached back out to me many hours later, but she did. And she said she was going to have to decline because UGA and Notre Dame playing in the Sugar Bowl this afternoon. Now, side note, that is strike 1 for me. And here is a bit of politics 101. You always put your constituents' needs ahead of your own needs and wants. That's how this works. Well, I need a break. I got to do my thing. Yeah, that's not what you signed up for. You are second. Your constituents come first. Anyway, but alas, as I also told her, I said, well, that game's going to be done sometime around the time we start. So I gave her a link and I said, hey, you want to click and join us at some point in time after 7:30? Be my guest. Hop on. Love to have you. I also reached out to Logan Cunningham. He is working tonight. I did talk to him via text. He's working tonight and cannot join. I also spoke to Port Royal Mayor Kevin Phillips via text and asked him to join for another story I'm going to get onto after our live guest comes on, who's in our green room right now back there. She's putting on makeup and enjoying an ice cold, well, I don't know what that is. I do have leftover cookies from Christmas. I saw that. Anyway, I did ask Mayor Phillips about the election of Howard to chair because Mayor Phillips is the mayor of Port Royal and Alice Howard happens to live in Port Royal. Phillips had this to say about Alice Howard, and I quote, I think considering how the referendum was defeated so badly that county council has to do something to show the public we hear you. And we understand there are some trust issues. So, again, this is Kevin Phillips, mayor of Port Royal. So a new chairperson would be a step in the right direction of showing the public that. Myself and my other council members have a good relationship with Councilwoman Howard. So I think her being chair, we would have a good working relationship. End quote. Nothing wrong with that. So anyway, however, joining us right now, we're going to bring her on the stage. Council member representing District 8, Paula Brown is joining us. Happy New Year,
Hi,
my friend.
Mike. Happy New Year.
How are you?
I'm great. I am great. This is a great day for Beaufort County.
It is so good to see you.
I just heard everything you said, but I want to say this.
Yeah.
Just step back, take a deep breath. I mean, we just elected a new chair and vice chair. That was a huge step. And the first woman being elected to Beaufort County Council, that's a huge in itself. And the 5 people that had gathered together to try to get the past chair out, been working really hard for the last 6 months. So all I'm saying to you, Mike, is please just give us a chance. We're not going to fix all the problems in one council meeting, you know? So I am really proud of Alice Howard and Tab Tabernick. And I like what Tab said today. But everybody in this county needs to really thank Logan Cunningham because it came down to his vote.
It did come down
Tom Reese was the last vote. Yes. Yes, right. That's correct. But
we knew.
Think Logan Cunningham. And
Absolutely.
you had it right on your show last time. You said it would come down to Logan, and it did.
That's right. So have you had a chance to meet with or talk with, since the vote, with the new chair or vice chair since the election?
No, I have not. Speaking of
That must be the football game right
our
there.
Madam Chair, speaking of Madam Chair Howard, she went to University of Georgia, and now I have my neighbors over here that are from Georgia here at a party. I'm trying to keep the sound down as best as I can. So no, I had to get home, and I've had a big Sugar Bowl party today. So
Sure.
no, I have not had a chance.
Okay.
But another councilman called me to tell me that the former chairman had a engagement that he was going to speak at, and it's my understanding he canceled it. I mean, he can still speak at these places. I mean, just because he's not chairman anymore, I mean, why not? I mean,
absolutely.
This is going to be a great team. This is going to be a team like the county has not seen before.
Well, I can speak for probably almost 200,000 of us that we really don't care what the county has seen before, but what the public has seen. That's the important piece.
Well, that's the important people.
Let me ask you, your business background is in finance, and we've talked about that a lot over the last 2 or 3 years. Do you believe that there is a possibility you could get the chair of the finance committee?
No, I don't want that. I don't think I'm qualified for that. Also, what the Madam Chair and Vice Madam Chair is going to do, they're going to do something the previous ones never did. They are going to ask everyone what they would like to do. Where would they like to be? What committees would they like to serve on? I've already said I'd like to be on the finance committee because I was not on the finance committee. I did attend them, but I was not on the committee. No, I don't want to be chair of finance.
Do you feel like
we haven't really talked about any of this stuff?
Do you feel like Mark Lawson has, that was probably the most skeptical choice for the last 2 years or more, actually, of finance is Mark Lawson. Nothing personally, just he has zero background in that. Do you see him staying on as finance chair when there's been so many problems in finance with the county?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, and I don't know who's going to be chair or if he's going to stay chair. I don't know. I don't know. We haven't got that far yet. But I want to say something else. Joe Crowley said to me, the late, great Joe Crowley, he passed away last year.
Yep.
He was one of my constituents, and he was the very first person that came to me in June of 2022 after I had won the primary. And he said, I am so happy there's going to be 3 women on county council. And look what we've done, what they have done, what all of us has done, the 5 of us have done. And again, people need to think Logan Cunningham, because I think it came down to his vote. No one told me the way he was going to vote. I don't think he told anybody the way he was going to vote. And I haven't gone back to look at the video, but I've gotten numerous calls this afternoon from people saying, wow, Joe didn't look very happy. I don't know. Did you see it? I haven't seen it.
I watched the entire thing, and I was able to zoom in on Joe. And I can tell you, there was a couple of moments where I actually was concerned that he was okay. You could use strong words like pissed, upset, very pissed, mad as hell, mad as a hornet. But there's a couple times he actually looked a little affected, which I could go on for another hour about why that's dangerous. So yeah, he was, as I said in my earlier comments, several folks today had told me that he immediately, once that gavel threw down, he was out like a bat.
Oh yeah, see, I was talking to constituents that were in the crowd, and Tammy Becker was there from Town of Hilton Head, and she had brought some people with her. And when they heard Logan say yes, they all knew, and they applauded at that point, because I couldn't wait to say yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you, what changes, Paula, do you feel in county council, or do you foresee happening immediately from Alice Howard chairmanship? And let me, before you answer that, let me say one thing. You had said earlier not to expect, but people do. The expectation is that it has been so bad since 2020 under Joe Passiment and Larry McKellen. We do expect things to happen immediately. Something has to happen.
Yeah. I'm, she's going to, I made a couple suggestions to her. Look at some of the other councils, county councils that have women chairs.
Mm-hmm.
And I see Ann Arbellis in there. Hey, Annie. I had made a suggestion to change the agenda, just simple things, right, immediately that she's going to do. I mean, we're going to try to resolve the problems as fast as we can, but I think there's definitely going to be transparency. We're going to be honest with the people. We're going to be outspoken. I just think it's just a good thing. It's a good day for Beaufort County. It really is, Mike. It really is.
I agree with you. One of the things that we've talked about ad nauseum, almost ad nauseum on this show, is the amount of time, and I think you and I may have talked about this, the amount of time Joe Passiment has spent in the county building during the business day since, let's just say since you've taken office, since that's all you can relate to. In the middle, it's spent in the county building during the business day, in the middle of county business. I cannot tell you how many people inside the county that call me almost weekly to say, Passiment is in here in this office doing this, or he's in that office doing that, directing traffic. The same comments that I made in a one-to-one meeting with, or not one-to-one, it was actually 5 of us that met with Administrator Moore. We had told him, hey, we know Passiment is in here directing traffic during the day. Do you expect the same sort of business happen?
In my opinion, no, absolutely not. No, unless they're there for a meeting, the liaison on a committee meeting or something. No.
Right. But the business of the county, the day-to-day business, which is not the responsibility of county council, that's where Joe Passiment, again, according to people after people after people, we're giving, telling folks, not just me, but telling folks that this was going on. I'm glad to hear that you believe that's not going to happen. Let me ask you this. I said this earlier, and I truly mean this. I'm going to extend every bit of grace to Alice Howard and Tab Tabernick, and to let them prove for themselves, what kind of leadership team they'll be, and see if they return the power to the people and not to the bureaucrats, where it's been for years. The last time we had a good, quote unquote, good county council was Weston Newton. It's sad that it's been over a decade. So let's hope that we can say Alice Howard in the same sentence as Weston Newton. But I am, Paula, and all of the county, quite frankly, is watching this extremely very closely. This is almost the same setup for when we got Rodman to resign. My question is this: are we going to see a repeat of good at the start and then horrific at the end by Howard? And I know you can't answer that.
No, I really don't.
Your gut telling you.
No, my gut's not telling me anything like that. No.
Good.
No, and I'm going to be honest. I had a lot of calls from people. They were like, "No, we don't want Alice. We don't want. Well, you want Joe? You want Joe? I mean, we have a choice here." But no, absolutely not.
And that is something.
No,
that
I think I can't emphasize enough. I think this is a great day for Beaufort County, and I am proud. I am really proud of Alice and Tab both. Madam Chair, we'll call her Madam Chair, and Madam Vice Chair.
Right. I do want to.
We
I've got
made a
another
change
question.
and a big change today, and Logan
Right.
Cunningham should be thanked by numerous people of Beaufort County.
I think I agree with you to the point that his vote, which I've said for weeks would be the catalyst vote, and I am surprised because I know enough to know that he is in a world of shit with Joe Passiment right now. If I had to
Oh,
bet money,
yes? You think so?
But I'm glad he did what he did. And you're right. You had the choice of, because we knew this was going to happen. It was Joe Passiment and Alice Howard. Everybody knew this was going to happen. We all knew it was going to happen. Which one? What do you want? You want the evil you know, or do you want the unknown? And I say evil being the, and I probably shouldn't use that term. Let's say what we've had since 2020 has been horrific. Do you want to continue with that, or do you want to continue with what I considered up until this morning to be his lapdog? So I give her all the grace of, hey, you run with it, and I'm happy.
Well, I don't see that. I've been on county council for 2 years, and I don't see her as a lapdog. I just don't. I think
there are special interests. We see about, and we talk about special interests on a national platform. We see that in a state platform, and it's there. People don't, the normal everyday people who don't eat this stuff up like I do and some others do, who just, this is not their livelihood, if you will, don't realize that special interests are abound in county government.
Mm-hmm.
It is well known that Alice Howard has been involved very closely with land acquisition, land sales, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All positive in her own right. Mm-hmm. But do you believe she's indebted to any kind of special interest when it comes to land or anything like that?
Maybe I'm not. No, I don't see any of that. And I've heard, numerous rumors and innuendos, whatever. No.
Good.
Again, it's
I think it's a good thing. You all
and
are.
I also want to say something else about Madam Chair and our Madam Vice Chair. Mm-hmm. Both of them, how I always see them work much harder than I do, and other people on that council. When someone needs someone to register people for a race, or go to the airport to volunteer, or be in the parade, the two people that always at the forefront and always sign up are the Madam Chair and the Madam Vice Chair. And if anyone has earned those two positions, it's Tab and Alice, out of anyone there, including myself. They are the two most hardworking people on council, in my opinion.
Sure.
In my opinion. They're always volunteer. They're always helping. They're always signing up. If someone has a problem, Tab tries, to help them, or Alice, or whatever. Their time is, they're on seems like they're on every committee there is. And that's why I brought up the Zoom, because there are people that Zoom in when Alice look at Tom Reese. He comes all the way from Sea Pines over there. Takes him an hour and a half. He's there every council meeting. He's not on Zoom. He's on Zoom when he has a full-time job. So, sometimes he just can't make it. But, and
I think
fine.
The Zoom deal is a crutch, and you all need to get rid of that.
Well, we tried. We tried. You don't know that? Well, yeah, after July, we came back from our conference and we took a vote on it. And everyone voted to keep Zoom.
All right. Well, then, when you say you tried, you all voted,
we tried,
and you all voted not
but
to.
Yeah. And Larry McAllen said to me, well, who's complaining? I said, well, the public complains to me. I have strangers calling me all the time.
Right.
And a lot of people said
to me, calling me, and I'm not on council.
Work. What?
I still have them calling me because many of your colleagues.
Yeah, I know. Right? I know. And there's some on council that don't return phone calls or text messages or emails,
I know that.
You know
I will
that
say
too?
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say this. While I am going to give Alice and Tab all the grace that they deserve to get this ball in motion or this wheel in motion, I do not, because of past history and with Tabernick, I'll stop at the vote for the tax or I'll raise your property taxes, which is not a Republican or a conservative ideology. She has no business being a conservative on county council. And I'm going to leave that at that. I don't care what she's done to, go to register people or whatever. That is a ideological false statement by her, and that's not going to be forgiven. So anyway, Darlin, I appreciate you as always. You know that. I thank you for coming. We look forward to 2 more years, and hopefully they're great years. And I've run out of stuff.
They are going to be great years. They are going to be great.
I doubt that I'm going to run out of stuff to talk about, but you have kept the county in a positive light, not in the dark by all stretches. And your everything you've done is extremely positive for this county. And I want you to know that it does not go unnoticed.
Oh, well, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. It's a great day again, Beaufort County.
What's the score with Georgia and Notre Dame? Do you know?
I don't know. What's the score, guys? Oh, they all left. I told them to be quiet. They left.
Yeah. When I turned it off, Notre Dame was winning. So
yeah, they were winning 20-10 the last I looked at it. But
all right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, my dear. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right.
Good things for Beaufort County.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bringing you the best selection of hits for your listening pleasure.
Yeah, so let's get into it.
BigPatriotRadio.com.
And there we go. It is 45 minutes past the hour, 15 to the top at 8 o'clock. I don't have any updates on that bomb squad request up in Greenville County. Anyway, we will keep going. And again, like I said to the council woman with us, again, I extend every bit of grace to Alice Howard and Tab Tabernick as chair and vice chair. It does not need to go unsaid my opinion of their ability. Well, their ability is very high. Their practice, I have zero positive things to say. The story about the Bruce Edgerly Park, which I have another story to tell you about now, the playground equipment where Shannon Loper got the euphemistic shaft. Alice Howard knew about it. It's in writing. Alice Howard knew about it, but she didn't go to bat for her. The vote for the sales tax or I'll raise your property taxes comment by Tab Tabernick is inexcusable. Inexcusable from a Republican conservative to say that. That is not leadership at all. Are these two better than what was there? Probably. I mean, I would have voted, if I had to, I would have voted for them, not for what was there. God bless them in their work. All right, another story we're looking into right now. Talked about this Bruce Edgerly Park. This story has started to grow teeth. There's more investigation going on from on several fronts, I guess you could call it. So we'll keep you abreast. This story is not over, much like Defusky Island. That story is not over. Anyway, Port Royal Town Council announced recently that a splash pad would be built by them. And pay attention to how I'm phrasing all this. A splash pad would be built by them at the Bruce Edgerly Park. And that's where the controversy over playground equipment took place. I don't know, it's been a year or so ago now, and would be managed by Beaufort County. Port Royal is going to build it. Beaufort County is going to manage it. So a report came out in mid-December that Port Royal would be building this about $300,000 splash pad from ARPA funds. Okay, ARPA funds, federal. These splash pads are also known in the Parks and Recreation community as spray grounds. Never heard that before. Spray grounds. And they have water play areas, interactive water features, fountains, spray nozzles, buckets. I mean, you've been to them or your grandkids or kids have told you about them. They're really cool, especially here in the low country. They would be cool, quote unquote, cool because it's so damn hot. Now, these ARPA funds are federal COVID-19 funds to finance the installation. The town of Port Royal has announced that this is going to be installed during the first quarter of 2025, like right now. Reports from the Island Packet quote the Port Royal Assistant Town Manager, a Brooke Plack-Bucola, quote, the town in Beaufort County are partnering on the splash pad. Port Royal will pay to install the splash pad while Beaufort County will maintain it, end quote, she, Brooke Plack-Bucola, said. Now, town manager Van Willis has been quoted as saying, quote, we went to council, and this is town council, and said, hey, what is something council would like to see for the citizens and kids to do in Port Royal? End quote. Legitimate question, as they should be doing. Now, the Cary, North Carolina-based Carolina Parks and Play, that's a business, Carolina Parks and Play out of Cary, North Carolina, is supplying the splash pad while Year-Round Pool of Bluffton is installing the splash pad, according to the town, the assistant town manager, Brooke Plack-Bucola. All right, so what's the big deal, Mike? Where are you going with this? Well, the big deal is several-fold, and here are the questions, and only the questions we are going to pose at this very moment in time, and these are the only questions we're going to pose at this moment in time, and honestly, I would like to hear from the folks at the county and the town of Port Royal, and yes, we've already started asking. Number one, the town has stated this will cost approximately $300,000. Where are the RFPs, requests for proposal, for this project? I've looked, some associates and colleagues of mine have looked. We see none from any kind of transparency reports or documentation or contacts made to the town. How did you come up with an estimate of almost $300,000 if there was no RFP, request for proposal? Number two, the town says they've hired Cary, North Carolina firm, Carolina Parks and Play, to supply the splash pad. Where is that bid document with two or more others per procurement regulations? Things have to go out to bid when you play with public money. They're playing with federal public money. Where's the rest of the bids? We can find none. We can find nothing that says there is a bid. We can find nothing that says there was a bid opening. We can find nothing that says there's a bid award. But the town of Port Royal is saying Carolina Parks and Play of Cary, North Carolina is going to supply the splash pad. Number three, the town says they've hired Year-Round Pool to install the splash pad. Where is that bid document along with the two or more others per procurement regulations? Again, don't want to sound like a broken record, but we don't see any request for proposal. We see no bid opening date. We see no bid approval documents. We see no contract award documents. How did Year-Round Pool, as great as they are, I will say that, how did they get the bid if it wasn't procured properly? Or was it? Number four, the town is quoted as saying the county has agreed to manage the splash pad as it does with other parks in the county. And that's true. The county manages a lot of parks and rec facilities that may not be theirs. Okay, they manage it. Well, my question is, where is the memorandum of understanding, an MOU, or a memorandum of agreement, MOA, or any other kind of alphabet soup contractual documentations binding the county and the town for this management. Look at anything the county and any municipality or another county does together, and there is a memorandum of understanding or an agreement. There is a memorandum in writing that spells this agreement out. It is a contractual, or it is a document that explains the relationship. We see none. We see none. Number 5, the town of Port Royal is freely saying, I mean, they're not hiding this. They're freely saying that they're moving forward with suppliers and contractors and management. We just laid it out for you right there. And is using ARPA funds, also known as federal money, as I've said 3 times now. But we have a question. Have they followed federal guidelines along with state and local guidelines for procurement and bid, the bid process, contract process? The ethics and FOIA surrounding this is incredible. From what we've been able to ascertain, and including the questions above, the answer at this time just appears to be no. That's what we see, because we can find nothing. So, is the town of Port Royal in violation of federal laws regarding the expensing of ARPA funds? I don't know. That's a question we want to have asked, or answered rather. We looked into the rules and regulations of ARPA fund spending, if you want to call it that, and a couple of things need to be highlighted. A couple of things. The use Port Royal wants to use this for can certainly be explained and appears to be in accordance with the rules. There is a parameter that you can use this kind of funds for, and it's, quite frankly, someone who is a good grant writer, has the gift of gab, can write, a half-assed book, can make it sound like it's approvable. Okay, that's not the question. The rules and regulations do say that, quote, recipients, this is the kicker, recipients must obligate ARPA funds by 12/31/2024, 3 days ago, and have spent them by 12/31/2026, almost a year, or more, rather, actually. Port Royal was date bound. You see what I'm saying? The article in the news that came out was in beginning or middle of December. They had to have them obligated by 12/31 of this year. They were date bound. It's an oh shit moment. So the question is, did they act in haste and skip all of the proper bid rules and procurement, procurement rules, say that 5 times, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? That is really the question that we would have for Mayor Kevin Phillips and the council of the town of Port Royal, and for the office of the town manager. Those are the questions that we have, and we hope to get that answered soon.
Let's go! The station that keeps it rocking 24/7.
Ladies and gentlemen,
BigPatriotRadio.com.
All right, there is caught me with an ice cube. There was a comment that I wanted to bring back up that I couldn't read fully when it flashed. Hey, Debbie, how are you? Tabernick took that council position fully knowing the race with you was not fair and honest, with your name omitted for 2 weeks of early voting. That's a great comment and great point. And Debbie, you are exactly, it's a great memory. You're on the money. And if somebody wants me to rehash that and tell them all about that, and that wasn't the voting, that the problem that happened wasn't Tabernick's fault. It was the county's fault. That was the county's fault. because her name and my name was on I don't know how many hundreds it was now. Ballots didn't show up. That was the county's fault. And I'll leave that at that. But yes, she fully knew. She fully knew what the deal was. But anyway, thank you for that comment. All right. I want to say thanks again to Paula Brown, Councilwoman Paula Brown, for coming in and on the show live tonight. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in. It's great to see everybody. Big crowd on Facebook, YouTube, and simulcasting on bigpatriotradio.com. We hopefully will take a look later. If you can get on Facebook and send some stars later on. We're trying to hit that 700 stars mark on Facebook tonight. So go on the Facebook links when you're watching or afterwards, and you'll see where it says give stars to the show. We appreciate it. Or write down what you see coming along the screen there right now. That is our Venmo, and make a contribution to the show. We greatly appreciate your generosity. Helps us in bringing in new stories and investigating them as well. Join us again for another Beaufort County's House of Cards next Thursday night, right here, Facebook, YouTube, and bigpatriotradio.com. So until then, football game should be ending. Another one coming on later tonight. Check it out. Until then, be safe and watch your six.